The psychology of people who keep their house clean. Have you ever walked into someone's home and noticed that it was spotless? Not because they were expecting guests, not because they spent the weekend deep cleaning, but simply because it is always that way. And you find yourself wondering, how do they do it? What is different about them? Are they just more disciplined? Do they have more time? Do they simply enjoy cleaning more than the rest of us? Here is what I have discovered. Those people are not just cleaner. They are wired differently. And I do not mean that in some mystical or abstract sense. I mean it literally, neurologically, psychologically. The person who maintains a clean home every single day is operating from a completely different mental framework than someone who only cleans when things spiral out of control or when guests are about to arrive. Today I want to break that down for you. Because what I'm going to show you is that a clean home is not just about a clean home. It is about the state of your mind. It is about the beliefs you hold about yourself, the standards you set for your environment, and the invisible systems running quietly in the background of your daily life. Clean people are not people who love scrubbing floors. They are people who have built a relationship with order, and that relationship shapes how they think, how they feel, and ultimately how they move through the world. Part 1. Identity comes before behavior. The first thing you need to understand is this. Clean people do not think of cleaning as something they have to do. They think of it as something they simply are. This is the most important distinction. And most people completely miss it. When the average person thinks about having a cleaner home, they think about actions. They think about schedules and routines and to-do lists. They tell themselves they need more discipline. They need a better system. They need to try harder. But the person with the consistently clean home is not trying harder. They are thinking differently. They have what psychologists call an identity-level belief. They do not say, I want to keep my house clean. They say, I am someone who keeps a clean house. That single shift changes everything. When your behavior is attached to your identity, it stops feeling like effort. It starts feeling like expression. You are not forcing yourself to clean. You are simply acting in alignment with who you are. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, describes this as the most powerful form of motivation that exists. He says, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. And when enough votes accumulate, that identity solidifies. Clean people have been casting those votes for so long that cleaning is no longer a decision. It is just who they are. Part 2. They have a different relationship with discomfort. Here is something nobody talks about. Clean people are not people who enjoy mess less than you do. They are people who have trained themselves to respond to disorder immediately rather than tolerating it. Most of us have what I call a discomfort threshold, a point at which the mess around us becomes uncomfortable enough to act on. For some people, that threshold is very low. A single dish in the sink creates a feeling of tension they cannot ignore. For others, that threshold is much higher. Clutter can accumulate for days or weeks before it registers as a problem worth solving. Here is the critical insight. That threshold is not fixed. It is trained. Every time you walk past something that needs to be put away and you choose to ignore it, you are raising your threshold. You are teaching your brain that this level of disorder is acceptable. You are normalizing it. And every time you address it immediately, you are doing the opposite. You are keeping your threshold low. You are signaling to your nervous system that order is the baseline, and anything below that baseline demands a response. This is why clean people seem almost effortless. They are not spending hours cleaning on weekends. They are spending 2 minutes here and 3 minutes there, constantly, because their threshold is calibrated so low that disorder simply does not get a chance to build up. Part 3. The mental load of a messy environment. Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat down to work or relax in a messy room and felt this low-level hum of unease in the background? Like your brain could not fully settle. Like something was pulling at your attention even though you were not actively thinking about the mess. That is not your imagination. That is neuroscience. Research from Princeton University found that physical clutter in your environment competes for your attention. Every object in your visual field that is out of place is sending a low-level signal to your brain. It is unfinished. It needs attention. It is not resolved. Your brain is constantly scanning your environment and cataloging what needs to be done. And when your environment is disordered, that cognitive load increases. Your working memory gets quietly consumed by all of these unresolved signals. Your ability to focus narrows. Your stress response activates at a low but persistent level. Clean people are not just living in prettier homes. They are living in environments that allow their minds to rest. Their spaces are not sending constant signals of incompletion, and so their mental bandwidth is freed up for everything else, for creativity, for presence, for peace. A clean home is not a luxury. It is a cognitive advantage. Part 4. Systems over willpower. Here is where most people get it wrong. They believe that keeping a clean home requires willpower, and so every day becomes a battle between what they should do and what they feel like doing. But willpower is finite. Research consistently shows that willpower depletes throughout the day. Every decision you make, every act of self-control, draws from the same limited reserve. By the evening, most people have very little left. Clean people do not rely on willpower. They rely on systems. A system is a structure that makes the right behavior easier than the wrong behavior. It removes the need for a decision in the first place. For example, a clean person does not decide every night whether to wash the dishes. It is simply what happens after dinner. There is no internal debate. There is no weighing of options. The behavior is automatic because the system is in place. They have a place for everything. So putting things away requires no thought. They have routines attached to existing habits. So cleaning behaviors happen without needing to be initiated. They have reduced the friction around tidying to almost zero. This is the concept of habit stacking. You attach a new behavior to an existing one. You always make your bed immediately after getting up. You always wipe the counter immediately after cooking. You always do a 10-minute reset of the house before going to bed. Over time, these micro-habits compound, and what once required effort becomes completely invisible. It just happens. Part 5. Self-respect expressed as environment. I want to say something here that might feel uncomfortable, but I think it is important. The state of your home is often a reflection of how you feel about yourself. Not always. Life gets hard. Circumstances overwhelm us. There are seasons where maintaining order is genuinely not possible. I am not talking about those moments. I am talking about the baseline, the default, the everyday standard you hold for your living space. People who consistently maintain a clean and ordered home tend to have a deep, often unconscious belief that they are worth living well, that they deserve an environment that supports them, that their home should be a place that restores them, not one that drains them. And people who consistently struggle to maintain order often carry the opposite belief, again, usually unconsciously, that tidying up is not worth the effort, that things will just get messy again, that nobody sees it anyway, that they will deal with it later. These are not just thoughts about cleaning. They are thoughts about self-worth. When you begin to treat your environment with respect, something shifts. You start to see yourself as someone who is worth that respect. The outer environment and the inner environment begin to align, and as that alignment deepens, maintaining order stops feeling like a chore. It starts feeling like an act of self-care. Part 6. The compound effect of a clean space. Here is the final piece of the puzzle. And this is where everything comes together. A clean environment does not just reflect a certain psychology. It creates one. The relationship between your space and your mind runs in both directions. Yes, your mindset shapes your environment, but your environment also shapes your mindset. Studies have shown that people in clean, ordered environments make better decisions, experience lower cortisol levels, sleep better, eat healthier, and report higher levels of overall well-being. The environment acts as a cue. It signals to your brain what state to be in, and a clean, ordered space signals calm, control, and capability. This is what makes a clean home so powerful. It is not just the aesthetic, it is the cascade of effects that follows. When you wake up to a clean home, you feel more in control of your day. When you feel more in control, you make better choices. When you make better choices, you reinforce the identity of someone who has their life together. And when you reinforce that identity, maintaining your environment feels natural rather than forced. The clean home is both the cause and the effect. It is the starting point and the destination. So the next time you walk into someone's spotless home and wonder how they do it, remember this. It is not about time. It is not about discipline in the way most people think of it. It is not even really about cleaning. It is about identity. It is about threshold. It is about systems. It is about self-respect. And it is about understanding that the world around you and the world inside you are in constant conversation. Change one, and you change the other. Start small. Make your bed. Wash the dish. Put the thing away. Not because your home needs it, but because you do. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.